Right now, I'm challenging myself to see if I can make 128 Regulation H teams that are each different from one another over the course of 128 days. Why 128, you might ask? At the end of the 128 days, we're going to do something special where we battle every team against each other in a single elimination bracket to see which team emerges on top. There will be some competitively strong teams, there will be some gimmick teams, and there will be some probably a good number of goofs and gaffs in there, so if you want to follow through to the end, subscribe so that you can keep up with each day. But without further ado, let's move on to day 18. Alright everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be discussing the Greninja Gambit. There's multiple Greninja Gambits. More often than not, this is kind of referred to as like the Palisand strategy. However, I decided to put Greninja more in the spotlight for this one, since I think Greninja has a little bit more utility than Palisand in this format. And also, if I'm just being upfront, I was trying to work on a different team before today, and I just decided to make this team in like 10 minutes, and I currently don't have anything prepped for showing off how this team works, because the team that I was working on previously was driving me up a wall, and I just could not get it to work. So we're here with the Greninja Gambit team. But starting off with our Greninja, we have the Covert... Wait, what? Why am I missing a move? Okay, that's better. Our Greninja has the Covert Cloak because Greninja is going to be pretty much functioning like a support Pokemon. Because the nice thing about Greninja is that it's at least very, very fast. You're not fast enough to like outspeed Talonflame or some of the higher speed speedsters, but you're still pretty fast. But if you're not faster than something, you do have the Water Shuriken, which is a priority gambling move. Water Shuriken will hit 2 to 5 times, and we can't argue running loaded dice on Greninja because that would take up too much of the set, and we really can't afford to catch a fake out on Greninja. But Water Shuriken comes into play against 3 of these other Pokemon here, being Palisand, Caladon, and Annihilape, and we'll talk about that whenever we get to them. But if we need Greninja to U-turn out, then we have the U-turn, and we also have the Ice Wind for speed control, and we have the Rain Dance just because I think Weather Disruption in this format is pretty important, but Rain Dance also synergizes with some of our other Pokemon. Our first Greninja Gambit here is going to be with Palisand, and that is because Palisand has the Water Compaction ability, which makes it so that your defense is raised by 2 stages after being hit by a Water-type move. So even if you get the 2 minimum rolls on Greninja's Water Shuriken, you'll still be +4 in defense, so you're really, really tanky. And since we are weak to water types because we are a ground type, we can run the weakness policy on Palisand, which will give us an attack and special attack boost. And then we have good coverage moves in the Shadow Ball and Earth Power, and we have the Giga Drain to make it so that we can recover health, and we also have Terra Grass, because Terra Grass will negate a lot of our weaknesses, but it also powers up the Giga Drain. And we have the Shore Up just in case we want to get some health back pretty much immediately, but it is a little hard to keep Palisand on the field when there's a lot of strong special attackers on the opponent's team, and that is where our Caladon comes into play, because we want to be using our Caladon to get rid of a lot of the opponent's heavy-hitting special attackers, with our use of the Electro Shot to hopefully get that nice one-hit kill against water-type special attackers that would damage Palisand. And we also have the Flash Cannon and Dragon Pulse for good coverage moves, and we have the Power Herb just to make sure that we can get off the Electro Shot just in case we haven't Rain Danced with Greninja already. But the Greninja Gambit part that we can do with our Caladon is that we can proc our Stamina ability with the Water Shuriken, which won't give us 2 defense boosts like Water Compaction, but it will still give us 1, so there's a little bit more variability there. But we also resist the Water Shuriken, so there's no real reason not to go for it, and we can combine that with our Body Press, which will use our defense stat in the calculation. And lastly, we have the Terra type of Fairy. However, I think you could change this to a lot of different Terra types. It's just that Grass was already taken by Palisand, and it fits Palisand much better, and I didn't want to have too many Terra Grasses on this team. Next up, we have Sylveon, who is a pretty important tool because I wanted to use it to do a good amount of Fairy-type damage. And Sylveon can do just that with its Spread Hyper Voice, which is a normal type move, but because of its ability, Pixelate will become a fairy type move and get a slight boost, and that also applies to Quick Attack, which we can use into our Caladon to activate its Stamina ability, or we can use it into Annihilape whenever we discuss Annihilape here in a sec. But in order to beat things like Lilligant, Torkoal, Trick Room, we have the Terra Fire and Terra Blast on Sylveon to make it so that we can get around Torkoal pretty easily, and we also have the Protect just to save ourselves, and the Safety Goggles is nice for being able to deal with the Amoonguss a little bit more. Next up, we have the Annihilate, who is a pretty core Pokemon in this strategy here, mainly because with Greninja's Water Shuriken, we can activate our Rage Fist a bunch of times, and since Water Shuriken is a priority move, we can run the Choice Scarf on Annihilate, which means that we'll pretty much be OHKOing anything that Annihilate hits that's even, like, neutral with the Rage Fist, as long as we get, like, 3 rolls on the Water Shuriken, making Rage Fist a 200 base power stab move. But we also have some nice trade-offs in the Drain Punch, that's just good fighting type damage and will keep us alive on the field for a while. But we also have the Final Gambit in case we don't want to be alive on the field for a while and just absolutely obliterate one thing on the field that is critical to the opponent's strategy. And then we also have a tech move here in Assurance, because we could Water Shuriken the opponent, and then if it's like a Psychic type, like in DD, we'll get a double damage Assurance because we had already previously damaged the Pokemon. And this also works for Sylveon Quick Attack. As we'll see on Zoroark, we have another priority move on Zoroark, so we can get a lot of good surprise Dark-type damage off with Annihilate to really surprise a Psychic type or two. Mainly in DD, because we'll just be Rage Fisting the other ones, but in DD is a normal type, so we can't Rage Fist in DD. And then we have the Terra Poison on Annihilate to make us resist Fairy types, and that allows us to use like side Quick Attack into Annihilate just to get one proc of Rage Fist. And then we have our Why are all my Pokemon missing moves? Okay, well, Zoroark is mainly just here for disruption purposes and to kind of psych out the opponent into us maybe leading Greninja and our Caledon, and they think, oh, they have Zoroark, I should probably wait. And then we do one of the Greninja Gambits, and then we win the game instantaneously. But Zoroark has some nice things in its kit. Since we are the Dark-type Zoroark, we can get Stab on our Sucker Punch, but we're not really doing much physical attack or designed to do much physical attack, but we do have the Night Daze, which is really nice because we have a 40% chance to lower the target's accuracy, which gives us a lot of variability if we need a long end game with like Palisand or our Caledon for whatever reason. And we also have the Burning Jealousy to surprise opponents whenever they try to do their own stat boosting if they're already really fast. And now we have Substitute, which I don't remember what I had in this move slot before, but now we have Substitute. But yeah, that's about it for the team. Let's get into some battling.
Okay, so I will admit, maybe it's just because I'm not in the right mindset right now, but I am having trouble getting games to play with this team, so I'm going to try and do some just off-the-cuff closed team sheet battles. But here's a closed team sheet battle that kind of explains the problems that I have with this team. So I start Greninja and Annihilate, and they start Indeedee and Blaziken, and already I can't hit Indeedee because it will just hit me as Annihilate. But whereas I could have started Palisand and probably been perfectly fine, actually Indeedee's Expanding Force still hurts. But they start Indeedee even though I have 2 Dark types on the team, which is like what gives. But they set up the Psychic Surge, and I decided to swap in our Caledon because I think they're going to Expanding Force, and I get the Icy Wind just to try and slow them down a bit. For once our Caledon hopefully takes these upcoming hits. The Expanding Force, and Greninja is now an Ice type, so it doesn't get to dodge the Expanding Force anymore, but they close combat it into the slot anyways. Annihilate's gonna return to the field, and I just decide to slap Insurance into Indeedee, and we get a crit, so now we're back in the game. And I waste the Electro Shot into Blaziken, as Blaziken protects and gets its free speed boost off, and now Slaking is on the field, and I just do Assurance damage into it, and Blaziken Flare Blitzes into us. And the Slaking has high horsepower, but it's not enough to KO our Caledon because we already have a defense boost, and we get to take out the Blaziken with the Dragon Pulse, and Gardevoir is revealed to be their last Pokemon, who I decided to withdraw Annihilate for because I kind of need it, and also Palisand theoretically won't do too much here, but we get to KO Gardevoir as they attack, and we live the attack with our Caledon, which allows us to body press in the Slaking. So yeah. I don't know specifically what it is about this format, but it does feel really hard to get off all of the Gambits. But let's do some just off-the-cuff closed team sheet games and see if we can get some dubs. Because I've legitimately played like 15 or so games now, and I feel like none of them have been good at representing what this strategy is. Same with this strategy, like this team has Rillaboom, which automatically makes it hard to lead Greninja, and they have Dragonite, which means that they can just extreme speed Greninja, and they have Dragapult, who's just naturally faster than Greninja. Like, what do you want me to do here? I think I'm gonna have to lead Annihilate and Sylveon here, and then have our Caledon and who else in the back? I guess Palisand in the back? It does kind of stink that our only grass resist is our Caledon, so maybe I would change the team later, but Terrifier Sylveon maybe helps us shore up the grass matchup, so we'll see. Let's just have Palisand in the back, because they might have to use the Liquid Voice with Primarina, and if we Terra Grass around it, we can still get our Water Compaction, which can save the game. But it's Annihilate and Dragapult. Okay. So we could probably just Rage Fist into Dragapult, since Dragonite will probably just Extreme Speed Sylveon. I should want to get rid of Sylveon this turn. So what if we... Ooh, we can Assurance. Let's Assurance into the Dragapult and Quick Attack into the Dragapult. Because it should allow us to KO it, and then it's just Dragonite to do Dragonite things. Okay, Dragonite went Terra Normal, and it did Extreme Speed Sylveon, and Sylveon just dies in one hit. That's what I mean, like, nothing on this team lives anything. I don't know what... Okay, the Shadow Ball into Annihilate there is fair. But gosh, man, see what I mean here? This is just not going well, and we're not Assault Vest on our Caledon, so we're not going to live anything. But if I was Assault Vest, then we'd still get messed up anyways. I'm gonna go for this play. Okay, Dragonite is really to be Choice Band, and Arcanine comes in. We Terra Grass Palisand, and Palisand takes so much damage, and we spend a drop on the Shadow Ball. Body Press does nothing into Arcanine, as Shadow Ball gets to take out Dragapult, but now they just bring back in Dragonite and click Terra Normal E-Speed into Palisand, and Palisand dies. See, I just don't know what it is. Like, this team just doesn't work. Arcanine howls, and we Body Press into Dragonite. We're still Terra Steel, but I don't think we're going to live this next attack too well. So I'm going to at least Electro Shot the Arcanine, because I think we have to get rid of the Arcanine now. Primarina comes in, and they Will-O-Wisp with Arcanine, and they land it. So we Electro Shot into Arcanine, and... okay, at least that picks up KO. They bring in Dragonite again, and I really wish I had that Electro Shot for Primarina right about now. I mean, the best I can hope for is like a crit Flash Cannon that Dragonite doesn't have anything to hurt our Caledon. It does have Outrage. Yeah, and Outrage is just going to end the game. Splash Cannon? No, what does Primarina do? Oh, Primarina's hazing because, like, I don't know why. Okay, now we have a Dondozo Snow team, and at least maybe now we can lead Greninja and Annihilate and hope that they don't lead Dragonite and click Extreme Speed into Greninja. I think we need our Caledon in the back to give us more of a chance against Dondozo and the Ice types. And who's left? I guess Zoroark helps because Night Days, so let's have Zoroark in the back, even though we won't get to use its ability because we let it in the back. The opponent starts Ninetales and Glaceon, and we have Rain Dance to disrupt their weather, so let's go for that. And we could just Drain Punch in the Glaceon, and I don't think there's much of a downside to doing that. So let's hope they try to get out their Aurora Veil. They Terra Ice their Glaceon. We Drain Punch, and we land the Drain Punch at least. We get off the Rain Dance with Greninja, and now it happens. They Icy Wind Annihilate, and that gives us our Defiant boost, and they Blizzard into both. Oh, and they crit Annihilate. Alright, well, there goes the Defiant on Annihilate, I guess. They also just didn't set up... I could have just done the strategy here and been fine with the Rage Fist. Let's bring in our Caledon, because now we need our Caledon to win this game. Recover Cloak so we can Icy Wind them back, and I'm gonna hope that Ninetales doesn't do anything and go for the Flash Cannon into Glaceon. Icy Wind both, we get a crit on their Glaceon, but our crit matters a lot less than their crit. As the Icy Wind is back, their Ninetales is pretty fast. I mean, I guess our Caledon is actually just kind of slow. They Blizzard both, and wow, okay, that Blizzard just KOs our Caledon. Huh. Did I just not put any physical bulk on our What is happening? I'm like full max HP EVs on our Caledon. Why do we keep losing our Caledon? Go for the Night Days, and we don't even KO the Glaceon, but they miss one of the Blizzards at least. They missed both of the Blizzards. Well, actually no, they didn't miss the second one. Alright, well, that turned out worse. I mean, I feel like a snow opening isn't that hard for us to beat, especially when we had the Rain Dance. Okay, here we have a bit of a Trick Room setup, and they have Dragonite is just everywhere. Dragonite Rillaboom is everywhere. Don't know what to do if my core Pokemon that this team is revolved around is Greninja. Let's lead Sylveon and Annihilate, And then our Caledon. And last but not least, we will have, I guess, Greninja. Okay, opponent leads Snorlax and Clefairy, which isn't the worst thing for us because we can Hyper Voice for our spread damage. And we can just, actually, we can just Final Gambit the Clefairy. I hope that it, yeah, well, it should die after the spread damage. Let's Final Gambit the Clefairy. Final Gaming the Clefairy actually just kills it, which is kind of nice. So we get the full damage Hyper Voice, and Snorlax is going to be able to Belly Drum, and it gets max attack, and does it eat a berry? It does eat its berry. And Sinistra's probably going to bring in its Hospitality here. Okay, they bring in Hospitality, and we can Hyper Voice again, and I guess Flash Cannon is our best option, because they're going to redirect with Sinistra. Okay, Snorlax actually, they're going for the Trick Room. Okay, well now I have to guess who I think they're going to attack, and I think they're going to attack Sylveon. So we're going to protect with Sylveon, and hopefully this Flash Cannon does enough damage to KO Sinistra? Okay, they did attack Sylveon, which is good, and they left you with Sinistra. Flash Cannon does pretty much nothing. Well, not only protected Sylveon, Sylveon's kind of in a prime spot to die. But if they're gonna Life Dew, then I can go for the Electro Shine, the Snorlax. Okay, they high horsepower to Caledon this turn instead. You're just barely not managing to pick up KO on any of these things, and Greninja isn't going to change the game at all, since Greninja doesn't have anything to save us. I can try quick attacking and hoping that they attack Greninja, because then I can at least stall out the Trick Room, but then they still have another Pokemon in the back, and if it's Rillaboom, we 100% lose. Oh, we can priority Water Shuriken, though. Wait, what are the odds that Water Shuriken actually KOs the Sinistra here? Need... how many hits? We need at least 3. Well, okay, it was a roll. And they Body Slam Sylveon, okay. So now the game is over. Yeah, it's Rillaboom in the back, so the game is Omega over. Snorlax reveals itself to be Terra Water, as Grassy Glad comes out and doesn't KO Greninja. Water Shuriken, even if without the Snorlax Terra, would never KO Snorlax. And Snorlax clicks Body Slam. And that's the end of the game. Alright, well, I think this is the first time in all the teams that we have so far that I'm going to actively say that this strategy is just bad. Like, yeah, Greninja has a lot of Pokemon that I can synergize with to use the Water Shuriken on, but they all just don't work together. And while I do think I could work on this team, like, for maybe another couple hours and then improve it by, like, maybe 50%, I still don't think that's 50% that's worth making an actual good team with. So, yeah, this is our first seal of approval. Don't run this strategy, it's not good. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked it, maybe consider watching another one of the team videos where I actually have a good team. And maybe consider subscribing, because both of those things help me out an absolute tonnage. And I will see you in the next one. Thank you.